The Interview is a really solid episode of Peep Show in general, irregardless of the fact that it's from the first series before the show had ironed out all their kinks. Plus, a lot of the things that are introduced here would remain staples of the show. Everything from the first mention of the El Dude brothers, to Mark's lackluster attempts to flirt with Sophie, to the introduction of Jeff. It's all here. There is absolutely no way to phrase this without it sounding weird, but I like that in this episode we get Jez's POV shot and internal dialogue while masturbating. To me it just makes these things feel a lot more reliable, if that makes sense. Like, we aren't just hearing their thoughts at times when they could just be talking to someone else. Rather, we are also hearing things they'd never want to say to anyone else. The same also applies to Mark when he hides in the stationery cupboard, a time when he just wants to be left alone, yet we're right there with him. Being with characters during moments of weakness or vulnerability makes you feel a lot more attached than invested in them, and I think this episode does a much better job at that than the previous one did. I feel like in this, the second episode of the series, you start to actually get Mark and Jez. The long scene with them drinking whiskey and water in the bathroom is great for this too. There's a noticeable power dynamic between the pair that fully shows itself here, what with Mark being the land baron and all. There are so many great moments in this episode that it's difficult to pinpoint just one as being the best. Jez's self-sabotaging job interview, Tony's pyramid scheme pitch, and so on, but Mark's failed attempt at a phone call to Sophie is just brilliant. It really sets the standard of where the cringe comedy is going to be taken with the show, and it's only made funnier by the fact that Jez is basically the surrogate for the viewer, who can only sit back and watch as everything just goes from bad to worse. I know that some people don't like it when the second-hand embarrassment gets ramped up to this degree, but I don't think that's the show's fault. You can't criticise a cringe comedy for having moments of cringe comedy. The ending of this episode is one of the best in the entire show, with Jeff singing Mark's "something stupid like I like you" and then giving a cheeky wink. Pure Jeff shithousery there, and sets him up as Mark's rival for Sophie perfectly. Plus it lets you know that Sophie is talking to Jeff about Mark behind his back, so her innocent polite office girl appearance may not be who she really is.